I will call the meeting to order. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 28, 2025 revised order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. GL Chapter 38, Section 18, extending remote participation through June 30th, 2027. Meetings of the Berkshire Hills Regional School District School Committee will be conducted both in person and remote. Agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed. Items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. This meeting is being recorded by CTSB, the school committee recorder, and the Berkshire Edge. We will start with a roll call vote, a roll call of the committee, since we have at least one virtual member. Allison?
Yes.
Jason?
Here.
Andy?
Present.
Bill Fields?
Here.
Diane?
Here.
Sarah?
Here.
Rich?
Here.
And I am present, obviously. I just want to make one comment. Eileen had sent out something today that Bill Vogt is no longer on the committee because he's no longer a resident of Stockbridge, and we're going to miss him deeply. He was a really, really instrumental member, and he has submitted his resignation to the town clerk, as I understand it.
And Steve, it's okay. Bill wrote and said he wanted to thank everybody.
Yes.
For his time on the committee. He really appreciated it, and he's gonna miss it.
Yeah.
You should thank him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great member. Minutes, January 29, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Allison?
Yes.
Jason?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Bill?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Sarah?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
And I, it's unanimous. We're right into the superintendent's report.
Okay. So tonight we don't have student members joining us. They both had conflicts. So they couldn't be here. And I just had a couple things I wanted to share. And then after that, we'll go to Christopher and work our way down. I'm trying to get Christopher out of here tonight because his son's playing in a basketball game. And while we don't like to schedule things on school committee nights, playoff games are beyond our control. Okay. Steve mentioned the Bill Voigt thing. I really appreciate his service and everything he brought to the group. This was like a member, but also his financial understanding was sophisticated, and he was very helpful in the evaluation and advisory subcommittee. So that's a loss. The other thing I wanted to share, and it's alluded to or mentioned, I guess, in the personnel report, is my assistant Doreen Twist has announced that effective June 30th, she'll be retiring. In like 2 weeks, she'll have been in the district for 40 years, which is incredible. Right. I mean, that's a lifetime. I'm almost tearing up over it because she's been so impactful. Nothing makes somebody look good like somebody who's really organized.
I'm just gonna say, we're not gonna realize how much we miss her.
I know.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
And at one point she mentioned to me, like, I don't think I have it in me to train another superintendent, which is really what she did.
Some would say she doesn't be superintendent anymore.
So I just, and we'll make some time to celebrate her, probably at the Common Garden Pub or something in May or June, but I really appreciate her. I'm glad a few years ago we nominated her and she won the executive assistant, administrative assistant of the state award. And that's a nice thing for her to go out on. So you all interact with her pretty regularly. Send her good wishes, and she's not a very public person, but we'll make some time to celebrate her. So those are two things. Just one other little update for me. Today we submitted our CEC Energy grant, and folks involved in the building committee know about that. But this is a grant we applied for previously and potentially we could get up to $5 million to help partially underwrite some of the costs associated with the ground source heat pumps at the high school, and then potentially even with solar panels at either the middle school, if we choose to replace those at some point, or in the high school parking lot, or potentially even the elementary school. It happened quickly, but the middle school solar panels, as well as the roof, are approaching the end of their useful life. So if we get really lucky, we get the money for the ground source heat pumps, and then we have money additionally for the solar thing. So as soon as they acknowledge the submission, and as soon as they review it and I have updates, I'll share those. So those are the big things for the moment from me. Christopher, come on up and tell us what's going on at the high school.
I can try, but I won't do nearly as good a job as Tyler and Mirabel.
We weren't gonna, but now that you mentioned it.
Well, the good news is that Mirabel wrote down a few things that I can
Sure. You better do it correctly here.
see. I won't do it nearly as fast, I can tell you that. She did, this first one, I appreciated it. She said, digital hall passes are integrating nicely. As we hoped, our new digital pass system has integrated pretty smoothly. Teachers and students now have the hang of it. It seems to be a good tool for monitoring students out of class when needed. So that's great. February break has lots of exciting things happening. Monument will go on February break next week, obviously, and there are plenty of students going to exciting places. Our Spanish teacher, Valzante, will be taking a group of students to Granada, Spain. I hope I said that right. Where they will live with host families and attend language classes and explore the area. Additionally, non-school affiliated, but our students nonetheless. Additionally, a group of students is heading to the Dominican Republic. I'm sure many or all of you know about that trip each year to do a week's worth of volunteering at Dominica Orphanage. Don't know if I pronounced that right. We're wishing everyone a safe, warm, and restful break. I reported a little bit about this previously, but again, Mirabel added it, so I'm going to honor that. At the end of January, a group of students, teachers, and faculty met with our partners at Danisco and Skanska to discuss and start developing some graphic design concepts for the interior of new Monument Mountain Regional High School. It was truly evident during the meeting that the design partners care deeply about integrating Monument's identity into the project, and the students are meeting with Danisco and Skanska again the week after break. We appreciate all that our students are contributing. We had a professional development day yesterday, and I just wanted to recognize we had a local educator and consultant come in to do some work with us. Her name is Caitlin Greer Meister, and she led our faculty and staff in a PD on neurodiversity, what it is and how we can work with and support all our students. Caitlin was incredibly informative, and she provided teachers with a lot of ideas and tools for them to utilize. Many teachers expressed their appreciation, and we are already considering how we might continue to work with her. The great news was that you probably also heard me talk about Collaborative for Educational Services, who we're also partnering with this year, and they've done a lot of PD for us. And all of that work integrates really well in just, again, gaining more tools to support the array of students in front of you. Challenges. Attendance, it's improving, but it's just a lot of work. I just wanted to recognize our attendance team. Again, it's our student support team for the most part, which is clinicians, counselors, psychologists, restorative justice coordinator, administrators. So our attendance team continues to review all of our cases of students with chronic absenteeism and how we can respond to those cases and support the students. We're meeting weekly right now. Normally it's a bi-weekly, but because of the end of the semester and the impact that chronic absenteeism can have on credits at a semester break, makes it more important to make sure that we're on top of all these cases. I cannot tell you how much time, energy, and consideration and intellect the team is putting into this effort. It's really, truly amazing. Our assistant principal, Pete Lergio, often along with our restorative justice coordinator, Sarah Mead, is meeting with many students and their parents to continue to reinforce the impact and the consequences of the absences. And based on some preliminary numbers, we believe that we were having a positive impact in reducing the rate of chronic absenteeism. So, we'll see what it is at the end of the year, but right now it's looking like, kind of impact that we wanted to have, not reducing it by half, but definitely a significant impact. Another thing that came up as a result of the end of the semester was teachers, more than a few teachers reporting that far too many students continue to turn in work late and far too late. This was something in my experience, and I think that's what I've heard as well at Monument, that really grew out of support for kids during COVID and then subsequent to COVID, and then just never really got reeled back in. We made some changes last year at the end of the year we met with as a faculty a number of times to make some changes to our grading procedures, communicated those changes to the families, but the teachers admitted that they have not strictly enforced these changes, and therefore the kids haven't made the change either. So we met as a faculty, broke into small groups to come up with ideas of what we can do to stick to our procedures and support our students, and then just putting that out there. We're working on it, and it's recognized. And like absenteeism, it's just we want to prepare our students for the real world, and that's part of it. So that's all I have for this evening.
Thanks.
Questions, comments? Nothing?
I think you're good.
So,
Enjoy the game.
Yeah, I just would ask something of the committee, they're doing the budget tonight, and if they try to swindle the high school, out of some money. Protect that money in my absence, I appreciate it, thank you very much.
We'll be watching the score of the basketball game. If they win, then we'll hold you harmless.
Okay.
Performance based.
Yeah, it's performance.
Okay, Dr. McCandless, would you come on down?
I think Cynthia would agree with me that in our many years of experience, we haven't seen the high schools suffer too much.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Thank you. It's as always a pleasure to be here. I first met Doreen Twist in 2005, and I was thinking about that the other day, and I think she had been here for about half of her career at that point. And wow, that to me, I know I always joke that I had to get out of Pittsfield before Rose Blake, who was Doreen's counterpart. I had to leave before she left, so I admire your courage with such a gigantic brain drain, but boy, does she have a well-deserved retirement in front of her. What a gift. Good news, the Massachusetts Music Educators Association Western District Junior Festival will feature several musicians from Du Bois. We're really proud of that. Again, I've seen in several districts, kids audition for this. But I gotta tell you, to me, Du Bois proportionally fighting way above its weight in terms of representation at a music festival that is a big deal. We have 8 vocal musicians that auditioned in December and were accepted. We have 5 string players who auditioned and were accepted, and 3 woodwind players from our band. And I think auditions this year were on December 6th, and the kids found out a couple of days later if they were in, and that missing recesses, having lunch in like 7 minutes so they can go rehearse. A lot of instruments schlepping back and forth, one of which is a string bass played by somebody that's about 4'6". So we're really excited for them. We're really proud of them. The performance is on Saturday, March 7th at 3:00 in the afternoon, and that's at Minnechaug Regional High School down in Wilbraham, Mass. But well done to the kids, and really well done to the parents and the teachers who have supported the kids. And I just admire their courage, whether they were accepted for the festival or not, the courage to audition and to do a solo in front of a panel of judges. It's just a big deal. Really shows the power of why we invest in music. It's a confidence builder among many other things. We're really proud of the kids. We had a great half day of PD yesterday. We used all internal presenters. We spent about half of our time on Google Tools, which is a new suite of tools available to teachers to, I'm going to try and put this really as kindly as I can. A student sitting with a Chromebook has kind of the whole world at their disposal when the teacher's not looking. Not that our kids do that, but they are kids, and I know how I am when I'm in something that I might not be hyper interested in and my computer's open in front of me. Google Tools is really a host of things that allow students to just be more focused on the work that's in front of them. Also includes some really powerful verbal, both audio and written translating tools in real time. So very grateful to Jennifer Guerin, who's our school librarian, and Christy McLaughlin, who's an 8th grade science teacher, for presenting to the whole faculty and answering a lot of really hard questions and taking that on to empower our teachers to help empower our kids. And then Ellie Rizzo, our assistant principal, did a great job. We too are adopting the electronic hall pass, like our neighbors up at the high school. We're really excited about it. It allows us to track data in ways that we really could only imagine. We're grateful to Christopher and Pete for first bringing it to our attention, and we were very excited to jump in on that contract. And Ellie presented that yesterday. We're going to be opening that up. We've learned some things from the high school, thanks to them for piloting this. But we're going to be starting with that the Wednesday after break and rolling that out. And we'll report back how that's going. I just want to say on a personal level, we have several faculty members of Du Bois that are working on their principal's licenses. It's a real pleasure to get to sit and work with people that are, you know, where all of us were 20 or 25 years ago. And we have some really, gives you a lot of hope for the future when you see that there's really bright young people who are interested in the glamorous, sexy work of being a school administrator. And they're taking it really seriously, asking really amazing questions. And it's just a real privilege to get to be just a little part of that. Our challenges, it's the usual. We all need to be kinder to one another, and I'll include myself in that. I think it's a really good thing that we're up against February break, because I think everybody from the oldest among us to the youngest among us at Du Bois needs it. And we'll be better people having come back from it. We could also use a little sunshine, and if the temperatures could stay at like a balmy 25 and above, we would be very happy to. So that's it for Du Bois. Thank you.
As we transition to Cynthia, I'll mention, and Bill reminded me of this, on behalf of the nurses, I sent out a note about illness right now, and we're right in the middle of like creepy flu and infection season. And oftentimes people talk about looking at a different break schedule. And we're often reminded that February break is really important in sort of breaking the back of the colds and viruses that are going around. So hopefully we come back a little rested and stronger than we are going into the break. So Cynthia, what's going on at your very sick building?
Yes, exactly. I know, that's in the Thorns part, actually. So I wasn't here the last time you all met together, but I missed the opportunity to praise our band and orchestra students in 4th grade. Had their band and orchestra night. It was well attended. The learning curve of our students, who most of them had never picked up an instrument before and now can play several songs, is quite incredible. So they're really, our band and orchestra students and teachers are doing a wonderful job. Over the past 3 weeks, we have benchmarked all of our students. I have a benchmark team of about 2 interventionists and special ed teachers, and they benchmark about 300 students in both reading and math. And it's quite a feat, and it really drives the data meetings that we have once that data is put in, and it provides us really rich conversations about how to target instruction moving forward for both our tier 1 instruction and then also our additional tier 2 instruction. So I'm grateful for that team and for the hard work they do. And then as our building gets more used to using data, it's really wonderful to see the impact that that practice has translated into teachers really beginning to enjoy understanding and seeing the growth of their students in both reading and math. Today, Berkshire Pulse started with with a program called Dance for the Special Child. And it is a collaboration with Berkshire Pulse and our students in separate classes. And the work supports the development of their muscle stability, their balance, their breath, and impulse control. And they do that through spatial relations, rhythm, flow, and breath. And it's just that this is, they've been doing it, I think, since I started 5 years ago, and it's a really wonderful program, and we are really grateful that they come and work with our students. It's wonderful to watch. The Thorns for Moneybrook, in order to meet the students where they are, both academically and behaviorally, we're having to shift a lot of our practices to meet students where they are. This is putting a strain on our schedules, our resources, and on the time we spend trying to make these adjustments. And then additionally, the weather, indoor recess, and sickness, those all go hand in hand. The weather forces our students inside, and then that we had indoor recess for an entire week, which was a really long week.
What's the temperature cutoff where you keep them inside?
It's 15, it has to be above, it has to feel like 15 or higher. So even though like today, it really felt like it was above 15, or it did not. The feels like temperature never got up. Yeah, it never got above 8.
Yeah.
So we had indoor recess today. So, and that really does, the kids actually love it. Like when you announce it in the office, you can hear the kids cheering. Most of the kids love to be inside because they have an opportunity to play with games and toys that they don't have the opportunity to play with. The teachers don't love it, the paraprofessionals don't love it, and the nurse doesn't love it. So we have had a lot of sickness going around our school. A lot of absenteeism due to illness. And we still have some families that I have been working with personally around their students' attendance, and I'm very much struggling with getting to move that needle. So, but I work on it a lot.
Great, well, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe we have any formal grant approvals or donations for this meeting. We may have a couple more for our next meeting. The next thing on the agenda is our rural aid proposal. And I'll go through this, you have it in your packet. The rural aid allocation this year is $351,410.53. And we're proposing this. I'm going to say each of the lines because for people who are on Zoom so they can hear it. $38,450 for electricity, $92,000 for teacher salaries, $32,500 for Cartwheel. Cartwheel is the online like telehealth, psychological and social work, psychiatric services that we offer to kids. And that's a big deal because in addition to doing it in English, they do it in more than a dozen other languages for our other language speakers. Reading curriculum, so part of the PRISM grant is we have to have a local match, $55,000 there. Musical instruments, $10,000 that were unexpected support of like giant basses and marimbas that you buy like every 30 years. The music teachers came to us with that. A little supplemental professional development in Muddy Brook for $5,000. Athletic costs, rentals and fees, really increases tied to our two venues where we swim at and the ski area. Athletics transportation, $10,000. That's busing people to games and matches and events further away than historically we used to. $35,000 for a server upgrade. I think we run 5 or 6 servers in the district, and every some number of years, like 7 years, we try to replace the servers. And then $57,495.53 to purchase approximately 180 Chromebooks. The nice thing about the server, the Chromebooks, and the curriculum is by paying it out of this, we don't have to, I mean, it's nice we get to use the money at all, but by paying it out of this, we don't have to include it as part of our next year's budget. So, and the reason I'm bringing this to you is, for a couple of years, we've been getting rural aid. Then 1 year we didn't get it, because the numbers in West Stockbridge didn't warrant us getting it. That's changed, so we're eligible again, but I'm just bringing it to you for your approval. So if you're open to it, Steve, I'm happy to respond to questions, but also a vote to approve it would be great.
Let's start with a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the rural aid budget as proposed.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion.
what the teacher salaries, how did we, is this supplementing money that was already in the budget, or did we go over the budget?
This is connected to one of the DOJ grants,
Yes.
right? So we're closing out 2 big DOJ grants, Department of Justice grants.
Yeah.
And they deemed some of our the grants to, if you remember, there was one was sort of softening the schools, and that was around professional development, and one was around hardening the schools, which was more around working with Steve to do things that would make it more difficult for an intruder to get into the building. And without going into the details, because it's security stuff, but like cameras and other security devices. Some of those were, we thought they were eligible before we spent them, and then they were later deemed ineligible. So this is moving money so we can have both things. That's like the layman's explanation.
Anyone else? Roll call vote. Allison,
yes,
Jason,
Aye.
Andy,
Aye.
Bill,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Sarah,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and I, it's unanimous.
And a little neat thing, and we'll see what happens with the budget process at the state level, but last year, the line for rural aid was $12 million, and in the governor's initial budget proposal, the line for rural aid is $20 million. So
Yeah.
if that stays through the House and the Senate and the reconciliation of those, or whatever they call that conference, then we'd be in very good shape, and potentially, instead of getting 351,000 and change, we might be getting $400 or $500,000 in change, which would be great. So we'll see where that lands. The next thing is our budget presentation. So I have a number of slides. This is also in electronic packet, and I think everybody got a paper copy of it as well. I'm not gonna read through every bullet point because it'll make you all crazy if I do that. But I am gonna click through the slides and focus on some of the highlights. So let me just pull it up and share it. Okay, so each year when we do this, we try to talk about our budget priorities. This, I think, actually warrant me sharing. We want to provide high-quality education for all students. We want to provide a wide range of social emotional supports. We want equitable access for all students, and we want to limit the impact of reductions on learning students and staff. So as I go through this, like, no reductions are good reductions, but they may be necessary and warranted. And we tried to do this in a way that was as least impactful as it could be. Sorry. Okay. We have some constraints going into this year. E&D, or excess and deficiency, what would be free cash in towns, it is really limited. And because it's limited, we're not tapping into that. We saw a decrease in tuition revenue. Last year, we graduated a very large class of seniors, many of them from Richmond. There are fewer students coming to us from Richmond than last year. Increases in insurance, contractual obligations, special education, tuition and transportation, and utilities. And those all hit us pretty hard. And we know that our budget exists in relation to our three towns. And as go our budget, so goes the three towns' budgets. So we're aware of the impact on our member towns, and we take that seriously. Oh, you know what? By accident, when I was bouncing around, I missed a slide. Let me just, sorry, I missed it again. Just talk about our process. Some people, and I think it was reported that our budget process hasn't started. Our budget process started in August, right? So we have like maybe the longest budget process of any municipal or quasi-municipal entity in the county. And it started with monthly finance subcommittee meetings. We've been monitoring state and local impact and what's going on there. And we had talked about like our knowns and our known unknowns, and those are all largely resolved now. We met with principals and administrators to reduce the budget, and coming to you, which is something that we've not done before, we've already reduced the budget by $630,000. That's on top of reductions in staff last year, numbering more than 10 full-time people. So you may ask me to look and what can we do to look at this with even more diligence, and that's my obligation, and I'll do that. But I do want it known that, like, we're not playing any games. We're coming into this having already reduced the budget by $630,000, which is really quite a significant number. And then the last of it is just, this is what I'm presenting. So I talked about the constraints. This is our known information. Great Barrington bears the largest number of students, and in turn, the largest assessment allocation, a little more than 74%. Stockbridge this year is 13%, and West Stockbridge is 12%. And those numbers go up and down a little bit each year in each town. And when we get to Stockbridge, you'll see an increase, but to West Stockbridge, you'll see an increase. But if you look at West Stockbridge over multiple years, and it's detailed in the budget book, that increase this year that's relatively large balances off to smaller increases in previous years and even decreases in a few years. Our E&D is low. It's $335,526. At certain points, it's been above $1 million. And typically we use that money to offset our assessments to the member towns. We're not really in a position to do that. And your E&D is your rainy day fund. And that drives part of our increase. MedX, the retiree health insurance, is going up 16%. Our assessment to the Berkshire County retirement system, so this is for non-certified staff, is $863,100. And the high school project capital interest for next fiscal year is $117,713. Our initial plan, and we're still working with bond counsel on this, is to do 2 or 3 years of short-term borrowing with only interest being paid, and then we'll come back. Before we start doing any of that, we'll explain it all. The bond guy is going to come to our next finance subcommittee meeting and give a presentation. Chapter 70, the big pot we get from the state is expected to have a $75 per student increase. That's not great. I think last year it was double that. It ended up landing at 150. It might go up to 150. We have like 1,100 kids, so you multiply it times that. And then the last of the unknowns that we now know is the Berkshire Health Group health insurance increases. We thought at one point it might be as high as 14%, and that's what we budgeted it for. It ended up landing at 8.75%, and dental insurance increases at 8%. It's unsustainable, right? And we know it's unsustainable. And I reach out to our elected officials. This is something that cuts across urban, gateway, rural, suburban, every school. And if the legislature was gonna find something to partially subsidize, this would be a great thing because they could meet the needs of everybody by doing it. And as much as I appreciate the rural aid funding and I appreciate the Gateway Cities funds and the Student Opportunity Act, the rising cost of health insurance impact every district, every resident in the Commonwealth, and it would be a great thing for them to work on. So this is where we're at. This is going to be a difficult and impactful budget situation. We think our overall increase is well managed and the impact on students and staff is limited. Reductions are largely supported by restructuring, unfilled positions, and a few retirements. We don't have anticipated rifts or of staff this cycle. We anticipate not filling vacant positions. And when I get to one of the schools, I'll talk about some things we're doing there, but we think we can move people around largely, right? And this may change it a little bit over time. This is our proposed budget. The gross operating budget is going up 4.37%, right? That's a great number. What happens past that is a little less great. The next line is the 5.26%, and that's because capital is involved. And then the net assessment to member towns, all the towns, is 7.81%. So I'll go through the schools and talk a little here. We're recommending this year to reduce 2 classes in first and second grade. So most of our grades in K to 4 have 4 classes on a section. These 2 grades next year will have 51 and 52 students. So instead of dividing them by 4 classes, we're recommending dividing them by 3. That raises class size from 13 to 17. I'm a big proponent of small class size and actually have advocated for that my whole career. I think the difference from 17 to 13 is less impactful than the difference from 25 to 18. So in my mind, anything under 18 in many researchers' minds is still considered small. In doing that, we would like to use one of those positions to fund a literacy coach to assist with the implementation of the new ELA curriculum and also to work in early childhood. So EK, pre-K, K, potentially 1 and 2. And our current recommendation is to reinstate the $25,000 in stipends in the elementary. I'll get to it in the middle school that we eliminated last year. That's an important way to support teachers to work together to support student growth and achievement. The middle school is a little simpler. Reduce a paraprofessional position or one position. And the stipends that I already mentioned. And the high school is reduced that by 6 positions. 4 of those are either unfilled positions or positions filled by outside consulting groups, which we're trying to move away from. And 2 of those positions are tied to a program. We have a retirement at the high school, and one of those paras would likely move into a teaching position. That para happens to be certified. Okay, so that's the personnel impact. Other things, health insurance, MedX. I think we've talked about this a bunch, and our contribution to the Berkshire County retirement system decreased by almost $200,000. And that's because they used to assess that in aggregate, and then they started assessing it specifically. And because we're a regional district and not a town, and we don't carry police officers or firefighters that have a much shorter working term and they can retire after 20 years, we're not carrying those costs. So it's like a nice surprise. Right. This is our big challenge. Our out-of-district special education tuition is increasing by 33% or $450,000. That's quite significant, and we've talked about it. Also out-of-district transportation. Over the years, Kate's done a really remarkable job of bringing students back to the district and running highly specialized programs so we can meet needs of students here. The current mix of students has some students with really highly specialized needs, and they need services that we're not able to provide. So we send them to programs really all over the state. Technology, the increase is very small, $5,000. That's in part because we use the rural aid funds to offset some of that. And we had increases in software. Much more of our work, both learning and administrative, is software based. And we were able to reduce some of our hardware things. Steve did a nice job of keeping his facilities and operations increase to just 3%. Utilities, we're seeing a decrease. That's in part because of our solar stuff and our other things, and just his careful management of it. Professional development, decrease in educational materials, supplies, and equipment. This is one of the things that's largely away from the kids, but that's impactful. And professional development, we've done a good job of funding that more and more out of grants and less out of our operating budget. Other changes decreased. Athletics, I mentioned some of the costs there have gone up, particularly transportation and facilities or venues we use, and other administrative costs have gone down. This is our proposed budget. Do you want to start showing it here?
Yeah. So you can see that the increase of $1.6 million, as Peter mentioned, is a 4.37% increase for the gross operating budget. In the next couple of slides, it's just looking at some of those percentage increases in a different way, kind of slicing it a different way. And so these have both the category change, so the increase in salaries is 2.62%, but because of the dollar amount and because of, how big salaries and benefits are, you can see the percentage of total change for those top three really makes up almost the entire dollar change that we're looking for in this proposed budget. So salaries at 2.62%, benefits going up 6.36% overall, and our educational services and tuition, which includes that out-of-district tuition, that's going up by $532,000. One of the places that, as you're looking through the line items, you'll see that in the line item for out-of-district transportation. You will also see it in the special education legal settlements line. There's an increase of $100,000 in that line as well that speaks to this. Technology going up just over 1%, transportation 1.9%, $66,241. And as we mentioned, there's a lot of pressure on that special education out of district transportation. You're not seeing as much of an increase in the actual budget line here because we're anticipating that we will have additional circuit breaker revenue available to us next year based on this year's costs. And so it's kind of masking that a little bit, but I really wanted to flag to the committee that that is somewhere that we are also seeing increases, and you might see that spill into the operating budget next year. And again, educational supplies, materials, and equipment going down by 3.72%. Our activities, athletics, and field trips is going up by $22,000. It's a 15% increase. And that, includes transportation, the transportation, the piece going where we're doing more travel to these further away conferences as part of that PVIAC conference that we're part of with Maya. And so you saw in 26 that we're putting those additional expenses in rural aid, but because these are ongoing expenses that we are seeing, we're including it in the operating budget for FY27. Utilities going down slightly. Some of that was also due to contractual increases within the utilities line that we were decreasing, and then facilities and operations going up by 24,200 or 3%. And then you can see these other categories we're going down slightly. So not big money costs, but $8,100 for other admin costs or other insurance going down by $5,000, and PD again going down by $3,250. So just in summary, the kind of where the funding for this budget is, those top four categories, of course, the three schools, and then our student services and English learners lines, those comprise 75% of the total operating budget. And then our other categories are smaller, of course, district-wide, which includes retirement assessment, the non-public transportation, to the Waldorf School, retiree health insurance, contingency, and school choice. That's 12.5%. Our regular transportation is 3.9%. School committee and administration 2.7%. Technology and food service 3.3%, and facilities and maintenance 2.5%. And this is just a chart showing, you can see the big green is salaries and benefits. Transportation also does take up a sizable share at 9.15%. And then the next largest category would be the tuition and other student services at 6.67%. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the difference, like the gross operating budget, but then you also see the net operating budget, that $1.7 million figure. And that's to get there, you're taking your gross operating, you're reducing it by school choice and tuition revenue that comes in. So our choice remains level based on current projections at 1.4 million. And our tuition is reduced based on what we're seeing in FY26. So in our projected budget for FY26 was $725,000. What we were actually seeing coming in this year is $585,628, and we're using that for our basis for FY27 tuition. So the capital project, it's larger this year. It was all of $33,750, last year. So going up to 117,000 means that the increase is, percentage is large, 248%, but you can see it's an increase of $83,963. So it's for two pieces. It's that feasibility study borrowing, that was done previously for 1.5 million. And then we also did a borrowing, just in January for the design. That's anticipated to carry us. June. Yeah, that's fine. So just, this chart is, to give you a sense of where our revenue comes from. Our minimum, kind of starting at the top, the cap, the minimum local contribution is 32.7% of the total revenue. And then the additional local, brings in another 49.9%. Chapter 70 is, fairly small at 9.2%. Our school choice and tuition brings in 5.1% of our revenue. And chapter 71, which is our regional transportation, is 2.6. And then all other revenue, which is, Medicaid revenue, revenue we get from, like interest income from the bank, that's a 0.5%. So as Peter mentioned, our certified E&D for FY25 is $335,526. That's 0.96% of the proposed FY27 budget. And for that reason, because it is so low, we are not recommending, using E&D, as part of the FY27 budget.
And just to interject for a sec, there's a rule that our E&D can be no more than 5%. So if things were great, we might have like 1.5 million in E&D, which would be really advantageous, because then you could vote to take $500,000 from E&D and put it against this to reduce the assessments to member towns, right? Hopefully over time we can build our E&D back up. This is where we are now. Do you want to do it or do you want me to?
I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
So this is, unlike in previous years, usually we talk assessments and there's only one assessment. Because we have borrowing and we've begun the high school building project, I'm actually going to talk about two different assessments. So I've designated this, kind of noted that this is the operating assessment, and then in a minute we'll talk about the capital assessment. So when you're looking at your operating assessment, you're looking at your population allocation, the minimum local contribution, which comes from the state as per the chapter 70 formula, and then your net assessment. So the population allocation, you've seen these numbers before. You can see that, just some variation. And some of this is due to just kind of the, whether students are going up and down, but in West Stockbridge's case, for example, it's only, West Stockbridge is going up by one student, but because you have both Great Barrington and Stockbridge going down by more students, that means that the percentage is increasing by more than you might expect for just having a one student increase. It's really sensitive to student enrollment. And this is the chapter 70 language regarding minimum local contribution, and so that's where it comes from, that the state gives us this formula and actually outlines the minimum local contribution, and then also says that we may choose to spend additional amounts, and those additional amounts are charged according to the district's regional agreement. So you can see the minimum local contribution for FY26, that was based on the final numbers for FY26, the final reconciliation budget, and then FY27 numbers are based on the governor's budget. And so our operating assessments translate from those allocations. Great Barrington, you can see at 23.8 million, Stockbridge 4.2, and West Stockbridge at 3.9. So the capital assessment is per the regional agreement. It's used specifically for capital costs, and it's based on each of the member towns' equalized valuations. You'll often hear it referred to as EQV. That's a number that comes from the Massachusetts Department of Revenue Division of Local Services. It's posted right on their website, and that's where these numbers came from. So we looked at Great Barrington, Stockbridge, and West Stockbridge. Those are the current EQV numbers. So the total valuation for the towns is 4.169. And then when you translate that into the capital assessment, those are the percentages. So Great Barrington, their capital assessment figure of 52.8212%. Comes from the fact that their EQV is that 52.82 figure of the total assessment, and the same translates for Stockbridge and West Stockbridge. So the capital allocation you see here, there's a real shift between what you're seeing for the operational assessment versus the capital assessment. And for Great Barrington, out of that $117,713 capital cost, they are responsible for $62,177, Stockbridge at $47,009, and West Stockbridge at $18,527. And so these are the total assessments. So it's the sum of the operating assessment and capital assessment based on the proposed budget before you this evening. And these are the change in the total assessments to each town. So Great Barrington increasing by 1.6 million or 7.49%. Stockbridge going up 234,000 or 5.74%, and West Stockbridge increasing by 431,000 or 12.16%.
So that's where we are. We're happy to respond to questions. If folks have them. Either about like technical things we shared or implications or hopes or expectations.
I'll start, no one else. I'll get people going.
Literally.
Yes. I have huge concerns about the increases and not about the administration and not about how this budget was constructed, but the path that we're going down. You use the word unsustainable about insurance, but I think our budgets are unsustainable, and it's a lot of it has to do with things out of our control. But increases of this magnitude continuing. We want our students to get the best education, but the tax bills continue to go up. And I don't have an answer, and I'm not sure what we should do. I don't think we need to, we have a public hearing next week. And then I think after public hearing, hopefully people will show up and give their opinion. I may be in the minority. And that we have a good discussion about this and decide if we want to vote next week or 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks, or we want to continue the discussion. But I have real concerns about where this is going. I don't see it getting any better. And I'm not blaming the administration. The only part about this is I have questions about adding any position, whether it's deserved or not deserved, when the increase is this large. And I think we have to also look for next year how we use rural aid. I'm not saying we used it wrong, but I think if our budgets continue to go up and our excess and deficiency continues to go down, rural aid is gonna become.
Our new excess and deficiency.
Yeah, because first of all, we all know that we're not supposed to be using E&D to offset increases in the budget. But we've done that for years because we've had to, and Sharon would tell us it would come back to bite us someday, maybe it has. Because if we had 600,000 we had last year, we'd be in a little better position.
No.
And, if you were looking at the good news out of this budget, insurance didn't go up 16 or 18 or 20% as was predicted. We got extra money from Berkshire retirement. So, I mean, there is some good news, but you wouldn't know by looking at the bottom numbers. I think we need to have a really tough discussion, and we may approve it as is, but I think we have to look at it.
Well, like you say, so much of it is out of our control.
Yes.
You look at like the state circuit breaker needs to be reformed. Period. I mean, it's like those kinds of costs
I mean,
Right.
chapter 70, when I get on the school committee, chapter 70 was 25% of our budget, now it's below 10.
Yep,
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but on the other hand, also feel the need to stand firm on certain, at a certain point, trusting our administration in terms of what they need to educate. And, you know, we just heard in subcommittee, we just heard a discussion of the literacy coach, and I was completely convinced, and I would argue, and I would stand hard on that position. I mean, there's other places where at a certain point, you can't get blood from the stone. And this budget sort of feels like we're basically at that point. I mean, I might quibble with bringing the stipends back that went last year, but that's 50,000.
exactly.
So that, I mean, that's like nothing. I mean, I think to get to where you might be comfortable, we're talking 300, 400,000.
I was gonna ask
just don't
that.
see where that comes.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask that, a 1% decrease is, I think we discussed it in the finance
Yeah.
subcommittee, is equal to about $300,000.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. I think that's important for people to know,
Yeah, I mean, I
because
agree.
when people say, well, you could reduce it by 1%, I think it has to be looked at the other side. That's $300,000, so where are you gonna get that from?
I just don't, I mean, looking through this budget, you know, and I even had Gemini look at the budget. Gemini couldn't find it, so.
But, you know, it's interesting, and I said this, and I'll say it again, it's the balance. We want to educate our students, and we do a really good job. But we owe something to our taxpayers, and you can't get blood out of a stone. But there's some taxpayers who say, I can't continue this increase of towns and schools. And I don't have an answer, but I think it's something that we need to at least look at. We got the book tonight, so, you know,
I mean, I think it's a responsible, I personally think it's a responsible budget, and then, of course, there's two people out on the dance floor, right? The town, and decisions and priorities that the town makes as part of this process, and the decisions and priorities that this committee makes. And, you know, so, yeah, there's definitely a dance.
yeah, but you will agree that I think in the best of all worlds, neither would want to increase 7%.
No,
But we're not in the best of all worlds, I
we're
realize that.
certainly not.
Yeah.
And I can't remember being in the best of all worlds. I mean, I can remember some really, really painful budget hearings.
Yeah, you and I were there.
Certainly my first.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing I maybe should have led with was, this isn't in isolation, and last year, as we went to the budget, we eliminated 9 positions, right? And I could go back, and for a future meeting, I'll bring this, but there are years when we've added positions and there are years when we've eliminated positions, and our recent trend has been to eliminate positions. And as we get more feedback, I'll do what you asked me to do, and we'll do our due diligence and really look at everything carefully, but that we were able to look at our budget and come to you with $630,000 less than it could have been, I think is significant, and I don't want that to be lost in the
Yeah,
conversation.
a couple of things. First of all, took 17 years, but you don't call them cuts anymore. Thank you.
No.
But the other is, I don't think we're gonna do anything tonight either, because we haven't, I mean, we just got the books.
No, right.
Right, so, you know, for me, at least, some of this is a knee-jerk reaction, looking at the bottom line. I have no doubt that I'm gonna look at this and I'm not gonna find anything, any silver bullet that says, oh, we should cut here and we'll save $600,000. It's not gonna happen. But I think we need to look at it. We have a couple weeks to look at it. We have a public hearing, and then we have a fruitful discussion.
No, and so for context, like I shared a little bit about the process, but the principals and Kristen and I did it. Then Kristen did it again discreetly for me. I did it again discreetly. Then we combined our things, and we'll keep doing it. But there's nothing that's screaming out that's obvious that either of us could find.
Anyone else before we? Yeah,
Can
go
you
ahead.
just talk a little bit more about the first and second grade classes? So for the next couple of years, the population of those grades is reduced.
For next year, we anticipate 52 kids in second grade and 51 kids in first grade. And you may remember, we had this conversation last year, and we decided with sort of lots of different input not to do it last year, and it came up again. And the thinking is, like, small class size is good, right? Everybody likes small class size, but how small is small enough? And we looked really carefully at the research, and the biggest impact is getting to 18 or below. And there's not a lot that suggests that going from 18 to 13 or staying at 13 or 14 makes a huge difference. And we'll do a more formal presentation. We talked about it with the finance subcommittee, but around the early childhood coach, literacy coach, and the impact on that. But that's seen as the elementary school implements at least 2 different and interconnected curricula next year. It's seen as a high leverage way to support teachers in following and growing and using a new curriculum. So the value in it is one person working across the building, across multiple grades to help teachers be more successful. Like the value proposition is more impactful than having 3 or 4 fewer kids in a class for 1 year. And if the coach does a great job in a year or 2, those habits become part of 10, maybe a dozen teachers' ongoing practices, and it reaps benefits for years, if not decades to come. So that's
The short answer is we're eliminating a teaching position at the elementary school.
right.
Yeah.
And we're eliminating one, and we're converting one full-time equivalent into this coach role. Thanks, Rich. And sometimes I need a translator.
Well, no, you said all the important things, but that's like the net result.
Right.
Yeah. And, yeah.
So that's 25 kids per class.
No, it's going from 13 to 17.
And there'll be 3 classes? 2 classes?
Three classes of second grade and 3 classes of first grade instead of 3 classes of 17 instead of 4 classes of 13.
And then the extra coach that goes between those 6 classes?
No, all the grades.
The whole grade.
Not really. We don't anticipate the coach playing a significant role with the 3rd and 4th graders, the 3rd and 4th grades. And we've had some success with this at the high school and middle school with that instructional coach. And I shouldn't say something, we had great success with that.
At what point are we able to, it's hard to predict at this point whether and when the class sizes will increase again and whether we need to then add the teachers back and if that's gonna be.
Yeah, so it's really hard to predict, right? For next year, this makes sense. Cynthia, you may remember off the top of your head. Well, and it's doubly hard to predict because we carry 4 sections in kindergarten, but we don't carry 4 sections in EK and pre-K. Combined, there are 4 sections, so there are 2 of each. So we look at census data, but we don't totally know what's going to happen.
But this budget has 4 kindergarten sections.
Correct. And in the little budget book on page 89 and 90, there's some longitudinal enrollment data, so you can sort of look at previous trends.
Any other questions?
One
Yeah,
question,
of course.
going back to this is a reduction of 630,000. Is that from a level funded budget or or what we had last year from level services budget? Pretty much, or,
It's from what was in the FY 26 budget.
okay,
Yeah.
That's mostly the,
So it's not like I inflated it
yeah,
to then take stuff off that I just put in, like that would be disingenuous and terrible,
So
right?
it's
from,
in terms of paralegals and teachers total, what's the reduction?
what we anticipate one retirement at the elementary.
Yeah, I don't care where they're going.
Yeah.
How many fewer paralegals?
Paraprofessionals.
Paraprofessionals, sorry, that's my day job, and teachers are we gonna have next year than we have this year?
budget wise.
From a budget, yeah.
7 paraprofessionals.
7 paraprofessionals and
2 teachers, well, a teacher.
a teacher.
Okay. One teacher and 7 paraprofessionals,
Right.
positions are being eliminated.
But some of those paraprofessional positions are
Consultants, yeah.
consultants or are unfilled, and one of them is likely becoming a teacher to fill a vacancy caused by a retirement.
anyone else for tonight?
No, very helpful, thank you.
And as you, I mean, this was both a transition year and we had numbers changing up into the last minute, so you need time to digest this, right? So use February break to have some fun and read the budget, and you literally know where I live and how to get me, and feel free to reach out and ask questions, and then we'll talk about it more in 2 weeks.
Yeah, move on.
Okay. So the next one, and special thanks for Kristen to doing it the first time. It's always hard to come into a new place and to inherit a process midstream. So I think we'll be successful this year, but as we look forward, I imagine she'll make shifts in how we present some of this material. The next thing is really just a referral to the policy subcommittee. MASC has a model policy, GBEE, around the personal use of technology. That's not one that we've adapted. The recommendation is that policy review this and potentially take action on it and come back to the larger group.
Do you have a motion?
Second.
Discussion.
I think it's a good policy.
Yeah.
But I'm not on the policy committee, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, and thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah.
The stuff around technology just almost evolves quicker than policy can catch up to it.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder that this is an important one, and some other districts are a little ahead of us on this, some are behind us, but and it's really timely now because with Heron Square being used by everybody, it's much easier to communicate than it would have been 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call. Allison,
Yes.
Jason,
Aye.
Andy,
Aye.
Bill,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Sarah,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and I. It's unanimous.
Okay, so we'll bring that to policy, we'll schedule it. The next one, and this is sort of embarrassing, and this speaks to Doreen's longevity. The last time this was updated was 18 years ago.
More embarrassing, I was on the committee.
So, I did some heavy editing and significant rewrites of this. I don't even think Dreamweaver or FTP protocols exist anymore.
No, FTP.
FTP does?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
FTP exists.
but I think Dreamweaver has disappeared. So this is a reworking of it. I think it's a lot better and reflective of the role. And I'm happy to respond to anything or people could vote to approve it.
Well, I'll just note that Adobe does still sell.
Oh,
It's
good.
part of what they had.
Yeah.
They acquired it in 2005.
You wanna keep it, the job description just in case?
Well, I think just appropriate software, I think you put in a caveat in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
That
sense.
you can add software.
Right. Yeah.
Any questions or comments?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion?
it's just amazing that, I don't think people on the outside realize how much that this position does.
Oh, my God.
I'm, when I first read this, I said, oh my God, I never envisioned that this is what a position encompasses. I hope we can get somebody as good as.
It's an executive assistant. And that's.
Yeah.
I hope we can get somebody as good as she's been.
Yeah, no, me too.
Actually, the name is probably wrong. It's really administrative assistant to the superintendent. I think we don't have any more
Right, yeah.
secretaries.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate.
Yes.
Administrative
Is
assistant.
that a,
Will you accept that? Yeah, will you accept that now?
I'll accept that as an amendment.
Okay, and you would,
I'll second.
okay, so we'll do.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Anyone else?
this does exist outside of that bargaining group, so it could be an administrative secretary.
Secretaries as a whole, for some reason, become a demeaning term.
We don't even use that.
Yeah.
Okay, no,
I don't,
I support it,
Yeah.
it's fine.
yeah, no, and it's clear in here that this is an independent contract.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand your point, Tom.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second, roll call, Allison.
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
No, keep going, and then there's a hand raised,
Well,
if you want to acknowledge it. I don't know if you want to.
Public comments at the end.
Maybe it's procedural, I screwed up. Eileen. Unmute yourself, Eileen, unless your hand's raised by mistake. Okay, Jason,
Aye.
Andy,
Aye.
Bill,
Yes.
Diane, Sarah,
Aye.
Rich,
Hi.
and I, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you for that. A next step in this is I'll post the position and keep you updated around that. The MSBA update. Jason, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Sure, we met, last night actually, and, really, like I reported last time, really exciting time between now and, the end of April when we, submit to the state, but, Christopher is, and looks at a bunch of students to help, plan out the inside, certain aspects, regarding like what's going on the walls, the interior decorating, et cetera. So that's been a great help, from the students. And then as well as, just the subcommittee working groups with a lot of community members have been, working on different facets of the exterior, of the building, the layout as far as like the flora and fauna. Fantastic, help from, experts in the community, through all various types of, jobs. So that's really going, gangbusters. Our next meeting is, May, I think it's 11th, that Wednesday in May. I'm sorry,
March. Yeah.
March 11th, that'll be the last meeting before we submit to the state, and there'll still be some time for some minor changes. This is really where all the heavy lifting of, what the actual school is gonna look like, and it's really exciting, a really busy time, but appreciate all the volunteer effort from the community folks as well as the students.
And the only thing I'll add is our little financial approval subcommittee met today and that was helpful and sort of to approve took results and things. So,
Good.
so that's going nicely.
Yeah, we're at the point now where we're actually looking at what the school's gonna look like. Before it was conceptual, you're right, and it does get exciting.
I get the question of when is ground gonna be broken? And I kind of say, well, there's a lot of things that have to go in. What is
The
the,
spring of 2027.
is it the spring of 2027?
When they're gonna start digging the hole.
Yeah.
But we're doing a lot of other things before.
And one of the things we talked about, we're gonna start doing a newsletter to the community writ large, so not just parents and staff and students, but community members can sign up for our newsletter, and we'll be sharing regular updates in addition to social media about what's happening with the project. And then in the thing I send out every couple weeks, there's always a construction corner at the bottom that gives a little blurb about what's going on. And at some point we may do some community meetings again and tell people what's going on. Belonging and safety, just a couple things. We did an organic lockdown drill, so that's the kind where we just find somebody and say, there's a lockdown, and then they holler, and then sort of everybody responds to it. It's different than one that's announced that's either pre-announced or that's announced from the PA system. And we're working closely with the local police, particularly the Great Barrington, but also Stockbridge and West Stockbridge, and the state police. And Steve Stoll's been really essential in that. We've also had follow-up meetings with the police around it, and there's always room for improvement, and we're always learning things, but it's good. And during some of the upcoming breaks, local law enforcement will spend a little time in our buildings when we're not there to get a sense of things, and train some, which is also good.
It's good. Subcommittee policy is not met. We will now.
Building and grounds have been met.
Okay, perfect. Superintendent's evaluation. We need another member on that.
Yeah, so that group only has 2 members. So if somebody would like to volunteer, that'd be great. And then I should have mentioned this in the context of Bill stepping off. The 2 Stockbridge members, so Jason and Sarah, as well as the 3 Stockbridge Select Board members will meet to potentially recruit candidates and select an additional member from Stockbridge to serve the balance of Bill's term.
Yeah, typically the Stockbridge would advertise the opening for a few weeks,
Right.
then would ask you guys to come to a meeting and hopefully vote to get someone on.
Yeah, that's great.
In the meantime, I'd be happy to serve as interim chair and organize a meeting.
For
I'm on the committee.
Superintendent.
superintendent, sure.
Yeah.
I thought you were taking his place. I was confused.
That comes next, I'm good with
It's
that.
kind of late. I got confused here. This time of night, talk slower, would you say? Yeah, no, that'd be terrific.
Yeah.
Finance subcommittee,
You basically heard the report. The only thing I would add to people is we did have a real deep dive on that, the coach at the elementary school, and if people have, and Cynthia answered a lot of our questions, so people should talk to her. People who are on the finance committee might want to talk to her if they have questions about it.
And we probably for a future meeting, we'll have Cynthia explain the role in greater detail.
there'll have to be a job description that we approve eventually.
I think there is an existing coach job description, but we'll look at if that covers it or it needs to be updated or sort of a parallel one to it.
Okay.
You might want to share a memo around the
Is it,
group.
the memos about a pre-K, K coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a coach for first and second, or?
We had discussed yesterday, is it okay for me?
Yeah. This was a Putting confusion at the meeting there, yeah.
During our faculty meeting yesterday, the faculty gave just some feedback that if we were reducing class size in first and second, to additionally include them in the coaching position. And typically, when you talk about early elementary, you're talking 2 through K or K through 2.
Right.
So I thought that was really good feedback, and so they gave that after I had written.
I see.
This.
So theoretically.
Yes.
Same coach, it's
Yes.
the same coach position, and does that seem feasible to
Yes.
cover all
Yes.
those rates? Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think what we'll do is, Cynthia, let's update that memo so it
Okay.
reflects the conversation, and then we'll share it with
I
everyone.
think that's good.
Will do.
So I know I think it was clear to us at our finance committee meeting, and I think it was clear to you, but the budget that's coming from the administration will have that position in it. And will not have they'll have 2 less classroom teachers than there were elementary. So if people disagree with either one of those things, that will have to be a school committee amendment to the budget. As well as all the paralegals that will not be in the administration's budget this year. Paraprofessionals, does the paralegal again?
Yes, you do.
We don't want any paralegals.
Negotiation subcommittee has been meeting regularly. The co-curricular contract is pretty much wrapped up. Unit C, we have a couple more meetings and all things are going well.
Good, well said.
Do you want to talk about personnel? I think you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, the big ones, Doreen, we have a new para, Allison Berlin joining us, we're excited to welcome her. And the rest, I think, is fairly straightforward. We're still looking to fill a custodian position. And then in your packet is the finalized calendar with the school committee dates. Which may be helpful, and those will get put in my calendar, and then I'll ask Doreen to send them to all of you, so you have them electronically, and you don't have to put them yourself in your
Any
calendar.
chance we get that as a ISC file?
He doesn't know what IC is.
I do. Is it ISC or is it ICS?
ICS.
Yeah.
Yes, I do know, Rich. There you go.
But I come back to my question. Is it possible? We used to have it. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember.
What would be nice is that we didn't get a calendar invite this year for him. What's nice about and I know nothing about that, calendar invites is that it has the link to the Zoom meeting.
So then you could just click on it.
Well, yeah, but what I'm talking about is you load the file into your Google calendar.
And it's there forever.
Calendar you use.
Yeah.
And then all that information is right there. You just click on it.
Well, that's what, yeah.
They did it before, you're right.
We used to get it, Dave Long had it set.
Yeah, no, so I think we can do it. I don't know that I can do it, but then my
Well,
able
I'm pretty
assistant.
sure Yuli would be capable of.
Yes, yes.
We'll figure out how to do it. I mean, the other thing that might be interesting is, we do a Google Calendar that's just for the school committee members.
Right, and that would provide.
And it just rolls up into everything, and you subscribe to it, and at some point, if you step off the school committee, then you can stop subscribing to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay.
More immediate calendar issues, maybe you're gonna go there, Steve, I don't know, so we have nothing next week at school break.
Right.
The 26th is the public hearing.
And that's at Du Bois.
And that's at Du Bois.
Right, I was gonna bring that up.
It
Thank you,
doesn't
Bill.
say that on the agenda.
No, thank you.
We have a finance committee meeting penciled in for that day. I don't know that would be a useful, I think we may need to meet after that possibly.
But we want it because the bond guy wants to meet with us.
Oh, that's right, the bond guy's gonna explain,
Right.
it's not a non-budget thing, so yes.
So we can meet over there.
Correct.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
meet
yeah.
over there. And are you intending on you're obviously posting the public hearing and then a potential vote for that night?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, but I don't know that we will vote.
No,
No, but
but
if you don't post it, you can't.
if you don't post it, we can't vote, so it always says potential vote.
Right.
Right,
Yeah,
Listen to Doreen, next year we'll screw it up.
yeah.
I'm hoping I can make a deal with Doreen that she mentors the next person.
And then if we do have a meeting March 5th, which is We may.
Yeah.
We probably should talk, you should decide whether you want a finance committee meeting beforehand.
If we, I mean, it depends on what direction this whole process goes. I don't think we would have one on the fifth. It would be before that, like if we're evaluating dramatic changes to the budget.
Yeah,
Yeah. So why don't we talk about that after the meeting on the 26th?
makes sense. Okay,
But maybe you should tell the rest of the committee what the presentation is gonna be at the finance committee though, because that's, people may want to attend that.
Oh, so at the finance committee in 2 weeks, the person who did, Ben Ogilvy, who's our bond person, is gonna come to share a recommendation. And our district treasurer, Dick Jetty's already like in conversation, and we met with Ben, but he's modeling out different ways we can do the borrowing around the high school project with a number of short-term notes, followed by it all getting rolled up into a bigger one. And he's the expert on the interest rates, and then we sort of had feedback around what fiscal year it lands in, because that's very important because it impacts our own budget. So if anybody's like, it's just cool, right? Like the finances of bonding, $89 million is just cool. And if,
Before the Du Bois.
Yeah.
at Du Bois.
We'll do it at Du Bois.
And I think we scheduled it to be in the community room, so it'd be a little bigger than like the little conference room. And I think it'll be really interesting, and we'll start to get a sense of where the rates might be. And we were very conservative when we projected, so something good might happen there.
let's hope so. Any
What time is that, sorry?
4:45,
4:45.
Yeah.
any old or new business before the committee? Public comment? Seeing none, unanimous consent, we are adjourned.
Thank you.